How you doing? It's Carlos from NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. I'm so upset. I've done this so many times. We fixed so many installs and it just bothers me. Had a customer come in, we're redoing his Harley. He told me that it sounded like shit, didn't like the way it sounded, amps didn't have enough power, so he has us upgrading the wiring and going over the bike and wants to replace the amps. He's got some Art Audio CAS amplifiers in there. Personally, some of my favorite small amplifiers when they first came out a few years ago. And then I had to let him know that it wasn't the equipment, it was a problem with the install. If you guys don't understand, whether it's a shop or if you're doing the install yourself, if you don't understand wire gauge, look at this. We have 20 gauge power and ground wire going into this amplifier. 20 gauge, super small. This is 20 gauge. So if you don't understand electronics, you don't understand gauging, whatever size the hole is, get a wire that fills the hole completely and make sure that the wire is oxygen-free copper. Here at the shop we only use Stinger, so I measured it. The hole is a little bigger than 8 gauge, so you can actually go 6 gauge, but they recommend 10 gauge for this amplifier. Amplifier draws 27 amps of current, so if you do the math or you go online and check some charts, for 30 amps of current you need a 10 gauge wire. The amplifier lets you put an 8 gauge wire in it. Look at that, it fits and there's room. So on 20 gauge wire, the maximum you can pull is 8 amps of current. So if this amplifier pulls 27 amps of current to make 300 watts and you run 20 gauge wire, if the amplifier can't do more than 100 watts, it physically can't. It's impossible. It's simple math, it's simple physics. So you paid for a 300 watt amplifier, you wired in correctly, and it's doing less than 100 watts, and it's probably going to destroy the amplifier. So if you don't know, if you don't have the manual to the amplifier, whatever gauge wire, whatever, fill the hole, fill it with whatever the maximum size fits, and use a high quality wire. I don't care what brand it is, just make sure it's oxygen-free copper. Make sure you're using the same thing on the speaker side. Look at this, 20 gauge wire, doubled up for the speakers, when the amplifier also takes 8 gauge speaker wire. The reason this is even more important on a motorcycle is in a car you can do multiple batteries, you can do a high output alternator. You can't do that on a bike, so every bit of current is important. So you have to run the biggest, thickest side. SPL guys figured this out years ago. SPL guys are building special terminals so they can run 3 0 gauge wires into one amplifier. Whatever the maximum power wire size is, please use that. Please use high quality wire, and your system's going to perform better, your amps are going to overheat less, and then I won't have to see disasters like this come through my shop. It's just really sad to see high quality equipment like this treated that way. So we're going to try and rewire it, we're going to try and save the amplifier, see if we can get the output that the customer wants by simply using the proper speaker wire and power wire going into the amp. This is a lot simpler than you guys are making it. You go from the battery to the amplifier, and it's a bike, it's not a long run. You're talking $40 worth of power cables. Seriously, maybe less. Please, I want to stop seeing this. Thank you. Share it with your friends.